I think I said good morning. So I'm presenting on an interesting topic. I think a topic that most people don't want to talk about, wills. I was asking my friend if she had a will, and she said I wanted to kill her. So when I kept probing, she said she doesn't have property. Then I told her, but you have a car and you have a business. So I told her, who's going to take that? Your mom? She's like, my mom is not interested. I told her things change. So she said she believes her people know what they will take up when that time comes. So I told her no. And I think she mentioned something about next of kin. I'm here to tell you those things do not apply. Yeah, they do not. Yeah, so wills, when you die, unfortunately, that is
a mandatory. So it's not a will. You have to
an overview. In the unfortunate event that you die and you have a will, there's a process, and then if in that unfortunate event that you die and you don't have a will, there's also a process. Yeah. So for people who want, after my discussion, you'll decide you want to do a will, you not want to, or you take the other process. Yeah, so let me start with the wills. So who can make a will? It has to be an adult of sound mind. So there are people who have mental health issues. So they can also make wills, but in the times when they are mentally sane, not times when they have the issues. So as salience of a will, basically, I think a will is something that anyone can make, but of course you need a lawyer's guidance, and also for your lawyer to keep a copy. So your name, your address, you name the executors. Executors are the people who are going to help you distribute your estate when you pass on. So you also appoint an heir or an heiress. I'm happy to announce that your heir can be a girl, not a boy. I think everyone has the misconception that it has to be a boy. Some people include barrier arrangements in the will if you want to be organized. Then if you have young children, you can also appoint a guardian or guardians if the other parent is not present, because of course the other parent is given a priority. If the other parent is not present, you need guardians for young children. If you have adults, there's no need. Then names of persons who are given the gifts, those are your beneficiaries. So you give out movable property, that is land, cars, bank accounts, shares in companies. You could give out your clothes. I think someone here said her clothes are something she values, and her journals, so that would definitely be in her will. Then of course at the end so there's also NSSF these days, that is also property. Then there's also pension. When you go to NSSF, they'll ask you for probate, that's what comes after a will. Then letters of administration, that's what comes if you do not have a will. I've not yet got into that part, but yes, like I said, next of kin. I know when you're filling in these documents in the bank, and they ask you for next of kin, and you put those details, but that person is not going to be given that money. They will not if they do not have probate or letters of administration. So it is very essential for you to plan your estate. Yeah, so signature or mark of the will maker. So some people are illiterate, so they would use a thumb, or some people are very elderly and they have issues signing, so they use thumbs as well. So yeah, we also need signatures for the witnesses. Any number of witnesses can work. So when you're done with a will, the lawyer keeps a copy, and then the testator keeps a copy, that is the will maker, and also each witness can keep a will. These are people you should trust that are not going to cause any drama before you actually pass on. Yes. So as long as you have property, you need to make a will. It does not matter if you're 20 or 30 or 50. As long as you have property, it is better. If you want to be organized, it is better to make a will. So the beneficiaries of the will cannot be part of the will making. In other words, they cannot even be what's it called, witnesses. Yeah, so as you're making a will, especially for the married people, your residential holding, this is for both men and women. There's a misconception that men die before women, so women never think that. They always think the man is going to die and we lose our home. No, you could also be the one to, So and these days things have changed. So some of these properties are jointly owned, like a home. So residential holding is a home, like here, where she stays, where she derives some sustenance. This cannot be part of a will. It cannot be given out by any spouse. It cannot be part of a will. So common mistakes people make when making wills, including the residential holding. It's supposed to stay in the family. If the parents pass on, it goes with the children, and so on and so on. So it is them as the beneficiaries to decide what to do with it, but you cannot give it out unless you create an alternative, a place for them to stay and be like they have been in the previous place. So they're not catering for all dependents. When I say dependent, this is someone who is depending on you wholly. By the time you die, they're depending on you. So I don't know how many of us, I think we're all above 18, now how many of us are still depending on our parents. I want to ask. I would ask. So you could, above 18, that is considered not a dependent, but some people are dependent. Someone could be at campus, someone could be there could be health issues, they could be disabled, something that those are dependent relatives. So your children could be, some people leave their children out of their wills, by the way. Yeah, so if they're not dependent, it is okay. I think we have, not to breach someone's privacy, but we have done a will like that where the person left out like the older kids and included the younger ones. So it is okay, and they can't challenge, they're not depending on you. So your mom could be depending on you, your aunties, your grandfather, those are dependent relatives. So those people have to be included because you have been taking care of them. When you pass on, they should be aware that caring is going to continue. So when you make a will now, like at my age, I will not say the years. When you make a will now, God blesses me and I keep living for very many years, I have to keep updating it. So I update it in case of, God forbid, a new marriage. I have to update it and change the spouse and the beneficiaries. Then when I have other children, I have to also update. Then when I get new properties, I also have to update. And also when I sell off, I update. So that when the time comes, you're not giving out properties that actually do not belong to you. Yes, so when a person dies and leaves behind a will, the next step is for the executors that were mentioned, these people who are going to help you distribute your property, to petition court for probate. It's called probate. So when you petition court for probate, you get a document like this that has probate. When you get that document, you go to the bank, take it there, they give you the money. You go to NSSF, give you the money. Like that. Selling property, you need that document. So that's why I was saying the next of kin thing does not apply. So who can challenge a will? Only dependent relatives. If you feel you are left out and you are depending on the will maker, you can challenge the will in court, and court can make provision for you. So yes, if you do not make a will and you unfortunately pass on, so your people will go to the Administrator General's office where they will register that death, and then they are advised to have a family meeting. When you have a family meeting, you choose administrators. There could be many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be as many as the people you trust in your family, who you believe will help you distribute this property. So sometimes the Administrator General distributes this property. There are certain percentages that are applied. They're in the Succession Act. Yeah, so when the Administrator General distributes, there are those, percentages that are applied. And when they're considering who a spouse is, this is someone who is married in the marriages that are recognized in the laws of Uganda: church marriage, civil marriage, customary marriage, Islamic marriage, Hindu marriage. if you're cohabiting, you will not be considered a spouse. Yeah, so
Come
in your family, these are your relatives, yeah? So they know you are their wife. When it's time to distribute, they will give you. That is,
So
they can choose not to.
yeah, they can also choose not to give you. When they sit as a family,
can deny
so
you more.
Administrator General can Administrator General distributes their percentages. So he gives a spouse 20%, dependent relative, different percentages. Yeah. But if you choose administrators, normally what happens practically, when they have a property, they sit down and say, we are selling this property, each person is getting this much from that property. So the come and we stay can, they can be entitled. But if the Administrator General gives out, only your children are entitled. And also, all children are recognized,
But
whether legitimate or illegitimate, from outside or from inside, all of them are children. There is nothing like born out of wedlock.
so it depends when
No, you can depend, but you see now, if someone believes you're depending on them and you're going to be pushed out at some point, they should make a will.
no, what if
So again, when they're distributing for the property that when you've not left a will, residential holding is not included. Administrators and executors. So administrators go where you don't have a will. Executors are where there is a will. But their roles are the same, to distribute these properties to your beneficiaries. They have to be adults of sound mind. These properties have to be distributed. It's the new law. I know I don't want people to ask questions and be like, but I've had letters for 20 years. The new law, as of 2022, I think, you have to distribute this property within 2 years. Within 2 years. If you fail, you apply to court to extend those letters. Actually, the letters and the probate expire after 2 years. So you apply to extend these letters. Yeah. So you have to distribute within 2 years. Then you file an inventory and a statement of account in court. So administrators and executors are not owners of the property. They're like middlemen passing it. Yes, caretakers passing it on to the beneficiaries. So beneficiaries can always take these people to court. It's also not an easy job, by the way. I think people would love to do it, but it's quite complicated because beneficiaries can take you to court if you're mismanaging the property, if you're not giving out the property, or you're giving it out unfairly. And you can actually be taken to both civil and criminal. You can actually have offenses and be convicted, and you can also be made to repay what you have caused loss of. So yes, it's a serious job and needs to be taken seriously. So the new law is, as of 2022, any distribution has to be with the consent of all the beneficiaries. So if the deceased had like 10 children, and those are the only beneficiaries, all of them have to consent that yes, we're selling this property. And if you're selling, the first priority has to be given to beneficiaries to buy, not anyone outside. If they do not want to buy, it can be passed on outside. And administrators and executors are not allowed to buy these properties unless they're beneficiaries. Some people do that. You can have a beneficiary who's also an administrator or an executor. Yeah. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. So you can choose